What's an example of no good deed goes unpunished? Cal Poly University had an incident in the 80s that made the school paper. There was a former mouseketeer who worked in food services, and one day a student asked for help because his purchase hung in the vending machine. She opened it and gave it to him, but an alarm went off. She waited for security and explained things to them, but still lost her job. One day you're a TV performer watched by millions. Later in life you're fired because of a snack. Cal Poly failed me in a class because my professor accused me of cheating. He didn't have any proof other than that I did better on one test than another, but as they said he's tenured, so we have to side with him. I fucked off, finished my degree at another school, and got a job in my dream industry within a month of graduation. Not really related to the prompt, but yeah, fuck Cal Poly. I'm late to the party, but Richard Jewell, link in description. The dude was a security guard at the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. He discovered a backpack full of pipe bombs, notified the police, and was briefly hailed as a hero, before becoming the #1 suspect, and being raked over the coals by the media. His life was destroyed. Depression led to exacerbation of his diabetes, and he died in 2007 at the age of 44. To be neighborly, I once gave the couple next door some fresh veggies from my garden. Thereafter, whenever I was at work, they'd raid the garden and take whatever they wanted without asking permission. You should start growing ghost peppers. Excellent suggestion. Perhaps they would use an abundance of them in their homemade chili. How about a motion activated super soaker that douses them in pee when they come through? Guy lost his ID for work. I brought him directly to security to get it sorted, and they fired me on the spot for allowing a trespasser in trance. Okay, what the fuck? That is pretty much what I said. Saw two ladies from my office building struggling to load a table into van. They were moving from our building to a new place. I told them, if they remove the legs it will be easier, and it will take less space. They told me they didn't have the tools, Allen keys, so I went upstairs and brought my set down. When I started to remove the legs, they insisted they will do it and bring the set back to my office. After a while I went downstairs. They were gone. Of course I figured they would take the set with them to reassemble the table at the new place. Never saw them again. Felt like an idiot. I have a drawer full of Allen keys of all sizes, because if someone doesn't steal them, they will just walk off on their own anyway. I was an events florist. This bride lost her grandmother days before her event, and asked if I would make a small vase arrangement to place next to her photo on a memorial table. Of course. I said it would be similar to her smaller centerpieces. Great. She asked how much, and I said I would cover it happily. In the review she complained that the memorial piece, which was supposed to be very special, looked too much like the centerpieces. God forbid your free flowers be cohesive with your event, you cow. She's lucky you didn't make one for her. I wrote a semi-popular plugin for a software package that's common in my field, and released it open source, provided as is. No guarantee, warranty, or support is promised. Occasionally I get an email asking a question which I'm happy to answer if reasonable. I'm currently in a dispute with a very angry professor in California, who somehow thinks that I need to support him set up an entire bioinformatics pipeline, because someone in his lab tried to download my free plugin. Offer your services as a consultant. The guy D. Richard Hip, who wrote Sklight and made it public domain, gets paid six-figure salary from IBM, and he consults for other companies. Your services as a consultant. I already have a full-time job. I accept one-off contracts only when someone has a particularly interesting problem. Saving a girl from getting hit by a car. Me getting hit in the process, but it turned into a hit and run and the girl left me behind on the concrete road. What the actual fuck? It is what it is. At work, if you're good at your job, that's awesome. That means you get to do everyone else's job too. I know this isn't your responsibility, but I know that if I assign this to you, it'll get done. Fuck that noise. My response is usually, well, if they can't get their job done, maybe they need to be replaced. Also, then you don't get your own job done. So now multiple tasks incomplete, and it's all your fault. You're not a team player. Clean out your desk. Which one? I had like 4 of them. I gave money and made light conversation with a panhandler who frequented my campus. He ended up stalking me across 3 different address changes. Did I read your post about this in r/let's not meet? Haha, yep. I live in a dorm, and I'm usually giving out stuff to people who need them, whether it's cups or tea, or whatever. Without noticing, people got comfortable and my room has become an all-you-can-grab raid fest, waking up every morning with one less item from my room. Had a similar experience living in on campus. I was making good money and doing well, so I bought bulk paper towels from Costco and let my housemates use a roll or two. Pretty soon people were stealing directly from my cupboard. At my old cafe, I came in for the evening/closing shift and my friend/co-worker was there and said he'd be opening the store with Molly, fake name, the next morning and he would really love it if we could give him a good close. Molly was slow and incompetent and he didn't like working with her. So I went above and beyond. I left that cafe more pristine than ever and even took care of some of his morning tasks. Specifically, weighing out the beans for the next day, which is a time-consuming task they were expected to do in the mornings, and one in which he says Molly normally does, and she takes way too long to do it. I came in the next day to a note from him chastising me for taking away their tasks. I was livid, and told him to never ask me to do anything for him again. Basically, anytime I do something extra for a customer, I give them the benefit of the doubt and take care of something that's borderline. They are always the people that file a complaint about OMG, poor service. My office has a mantra that no good deed goes unpunished. When I was in the Air Force, I separated from my wife before a short tour overseas, England for 3 years. When I came back, we pursued a divorce. I was still getting paid for having a dependent, since I was still technically married. It was legit. When I went in to offer my finance group my divorce decree to get the dependent off my pay stub, the computer system was down. So I had to sign in on paper. They usually have a computer system to sign you in and direct you to the right person to help and fill out all the paperwork by hand. 6 months later, I just happened to print up a pay stub to take into Verizon to get a military discount on my bill and noticed that the dependent pay was still coming through. I verified every month prior to that as well. I wasn't checking each stub before then, just because I wasn't worried about how much was coming in, so it's partially my fault. When I went back to finance to tell them about it, they told me I was stealing money from the government and called my commander, who proceeded to demote me after I just tested for the next rank. I was a tech sergeant/E6 at the time. They shredded my test results, took my stripe, and gave me an Article 15 non-judiciary punishment. TL. Doctor, I acted with integrity. The Air Force's #1 core value, and was raked over the coals for it. Holy shit. They gave you NJP for that. My pay's been messed up a few times and they either wordlessly took the money from my next paychecks, or my admin was like, oh that sucks. How do you want to pay it back? And that was that. I would have found the paper log you originally signed, and respectfully threw it back in their faces. This was at Canon AFB back in 2012. I assume the commander was demotion happy, because the dude was demoting everyone for everything. People were underage drinking, failing physical fitness levels, getting busted by quality for tech data violations. I think he was just sick of all the shit going down and just demoted everyone. Rented out a mother-in-law space to a single mom looking for a fresh start in the 8 months she lived there. She had 3 roommates she wasn't supposed to have. We evicted 2 of them, trashed the place to the point it cost us thousands of dollars to clean out her junk, and somehow broke the sink in the bathroom, which was the only source of water aside from the bathtub. We ended up evicting her, and a year later she threatened to sue us for her stuff. I hope you sued her for the damages. Can't get blood from a turnip. Suing her would have been a waste of time and money. We just chalked it up as a lesson learned, and were more careful when we rented the space out the next time. I let a friend of a friend stay with me while she got herself together for a little over twice as long as originally intended. After going out of my way in the extreme, she walked out one evening without a word. Said with my grandmother's silver place settings. Appreciation indeed. But remember this, my brother. See in this some higher plan. You must use this precious silver to become an honest man. I gave my mom a place to live and got her a job to help her get back on her feet. She talked shit about me to all my coworkers, spreading lies and rumors, not realizing that my coworkers loved me and were telling me everything she said. Then she stole $1,000 out of my bedroom by guessing my lockbox combination. A girl transferred into my school when we were 10 and bullied the shit out of everyone. She'd threatened the other kids, including me, not to tell on her, otherwise she'd make us regret it, and basically had a complete reign of terror over us. After about a year, I snapped and ended up being the one to tell the teacher everything she'd done and how she was treating us, and she got expelled. A lot of the other kids thanked me for turning her in, because I don't think it would have ended if someone hadn't, and we enjoyed the rest of our school years in peace. 9 years later, despite moving to a new town and getting an entirely new group of friends, the bitch showed up out of nowhere and fucked my boyfriend. Damn. She waited a long time for revenge. That sucks. I'd literally forgotten she existed in the 9 years we'd been apart. I never saw her the whole time. Moved to a new town. Lost contact with anyone who used to know her. I was so confused and shocked when she just walked straight into my friendship group one day, as though she belonged there, and started introducing herself to everyone. She shot me a look that kinda said I know who you are, but never said a word to me, and then went home with my boyfriend. He confessed to what happened, and I just left the pair of them to be assholes together. Fuck that shit. Definitely fuck that shit. Good for you for leaving them in the dust. Thanks. I have no idea what either of them are doing these days, and I'm glad to have no contact with them. I saw a man about my age drop his wallet, so I picked it up and tried to get his attention. His girlfriend turns around screaming at me that I'm a dumb BTCH and that he's obviously taken you thirsty rat, so I just put the wallet on the ground in front of her and walked away from that mess. Put it on the ground? You're a better person than me. I would have yeeted it as far as I could. I wanted to, but the guy seemed pretty embarrassed by it. Yeah well, he apparently has shitty taste in women. Who knows? You coulda saved him you/enchilada_slut. I never read usernames, and I didn't this time, until you pointed it out. What the F is an enchilada slut, and how can I be one? By believing in yourself, the rest will come to you. Wrote up the daughter of the head of ours at work for harassing/assaulting one of the newer employees. Got 3 consecutive write-ups the next day for being late by 2 minutes, missing an important email that accidentally wasn't sent to me, and running out to my car on the clock to grab my inhaler. Normally 3 write-ups in the same month is automatic termination. The only reason I wasn't fired is because I was the only trainer in the Southeast US, and she was probably afraid I would sue. Side note. The head of ours had been fired from her previous job, also ours, for having sex with an employee in her office. This reminds me of a time my boss tried to pull something like this on me. I gave out information that I didn't know I wasn't supposed to. When she was demanding that I tell her who told me that, I didn't want to get anyone else in trouble, so I didn't say. My boss then goes, well, I already gave you a verbal warning, now I'm giving you a written warning. Nothing ever happened. I was helpful to a new person I work with. Now she tells people things are my job when they ask her a question. We don't even work in the same department. Any and every job that punishes employees for reporting broken tools, or legitimate safety hazards or grievous workplace violations. Anywhere without good Samaritan laws, these laws protect you from being sued when you're only seeking to help someone. Sansweet didn't want to be saved, and the injuries received from Mr. Incredible's so-called actions cause him daily pain. You didn't save my life. You ruined my death. At work I was on break, while my coworker was covering my job. When I come back he says he was trying to receive our customers' packages in the system but something screwed up, and asked if I could take a look at it while he went on his break. Said no problem. Turns out he fucked up on the steps and now we can't go back to fix it, so I tell the manager the situation. I specifically didn't mention who caused it, so that I didn't come off petty trying to blame someone. Next day they have all of us retrain on the process, and made sure to tell everyone it's because I fucked it up. Love the user. TL. Doctor gave our neighbors free Wi-Fi for a month beginning of lockdown. They verbally stated they wouldn't pick up our packages when we were unable to. We live on the 2nd floor and have neighbors on the 1st floor. Beginning of the lockdown our downstairs neighbors asked if they could tag on our Wi-Fi and offered to pay. Sure. That's fine, and after a month they said they were going to get their own Wi-Fi. Fair enough. Didn't want to ask them to pay for the month they did use as they were both out of a job due to COVID. It wasn't much anyway. Forward several weeks, and I had to go into work. My girlfriend was on a work call, and we get a package delivered. My girlfriend couldn't answer, so the delivery driver rang our downstairs neighbors and no one answered, but we knew they were home. Delivery driver walked back to his truck and looked back to see our neighbors hanging out in front of the window and asked them if they could pick it up. Did they? No, of course not. And my girlfriend could hear them verbally state they won't pick up our packages. Have I physically brought their packages up to leave outside their door previously? Of course I have, because that's a decent thing to do. Furthermore, after this incident, when I got home I checked to see who was connected on our network and lo and behold, one of them still was. You should have still let them connect, but limit their bandwidth to practically none, so it's even more frustrating than no internet. Everything on their end will still show a great connection. Just the speeds are so slow it'll time out trying to load an email that only says hi. This happened to me 3 times. There would be someone who was new, school or work, and was getting bullied, and I would stand up for them, and be friends with them, and have them become friends with my friend group, and then they turn it around, and get everyone to bully me. It almost makes me want to second guess if I should help people now. Helping a classmate in pepper forming a handstand, and when I ask her to do the same for me she abandons me, and I almost break my neck. What a dick. Old homeless guy asked me for some change. Told him I would buy him a sandwich instead. Started yelling at me, and tried to kick me in the chins. /update. Yes, me being a portly fellow, you can imagine my surprise at the man's physical acuity. Either you're fat and he's flexible, or you mentions. I won't lie, I kinda prefer the mental image of the first. He tore off his raggedy leg, and tried smacking his chin. In high school, the school I went to wanted to reward the teachers that went above and beyond to help their students understand the material. They did this by paying the teachers a bonus based on the average grade the students received in their classes. Naturally, this just led to teachers forging grades for their students or dumbing down the material. On the plus side, it was during this time that I got an A on a paper I never wrote. During the Denver riots, people started handing out water from their storefronts to help those who had gotten irritating substances in their eyes, mouth, throat, and lungs. In response, the Denver police shot gas canisters into their stores, causing property damage. Source: I know one of the shop owners. Oh right, like the Seattle riots, where SPD targeted medics multiple times.